We on? Okay, hello there. From the actually Kringen Studios of the Universal Broadcasting Services Network, it is Mind of the World, brought to you by Peter Pan Peanut Butter. Eat some peanut butter anytime you can, only if it's Peter Pan. I am your host, Jerry Hinkle, and what is on the mind of the world today? Quite a few things there. Mostly, where have you been? Well, okay, a couple of people in the world are probably wondering that. Well, I had uh, my other two jobs were calling, and so I had to answer that call. And I had I was working 48 hours. Well, it ended up to be a little. I was scheduled for 48 hours last week and 48 hours the previous week. I worked 49 hours in the first week and only 45 last week, so it didn't quite turn out to be as big. It was still quite a lot, and I got a lot done. So there, and this week I'm finishing up tonight. I will be finishing up 18 hours in the week for Pizza Hut. So, and of course I have to scratch my nose because that's what I always do here on the YouTube. So, and that's why I've been gone for all that time in January or July. I can't even keep the month straight. Okay, but it is August, a brand new month, and here we are. And so, what's been going on? Well, the presidential debates. I don't know if someone has an accurate count on how many Republican candidates there are, but there were so many they had to have two separate debates. And of course, everybody's claiming victory. They won the debate and whatnot. Seems to me the only clear winner has been Donald Trump. Boy, doesn't that put the fear of God into you. But so no, he's become the next Teflon president here. Is if he doesn't get bored, he could walk away with the Republican nomination. And interestingly enough, he keeps hinting that he will break away from the clown pack and form his own party, which a lot of people think will be advantageous for Hillary or whoever the Democrats nominate. I'm not exactly sure that Bernie Sanders is making an impressive showing, and so it's not going to be a cakewalk for sure. If Hillary does end up getting nominated, she's going to have to earn it, and Bernie Sanders is going to make sure that she earns it. None of us here at Mind of the World are ready to endorse one over the other yet. We're kind of watching. In the old days, I would have run a poll in the Holabird Advocate, but readership in the Holabird Advocate is such, at least in the blog page, that we'll never. It's not like before. It's just not a big thing. Okay, well that's and apparently there's been talk about that Trump is a misogynist, and he got into it with Megyn Kelly. Good for Megyn Kelly. She's doing her job as a journalist. She, for some reason, even some of my Democratic friends are disappointed with the way that she went after Trump. Apparently, but no, she did a good job there, and she need that's the one function of the press is to make sure they kind of weed the losers out, and she did her best there. It wasn't good enough, unfortunately, because Trump has been every time they every time somebody goes after Trump, it makes him more powerful. It's like that. It's like that mythical Hydra. Every time you cut off a head, there's two more sprout up, or whatever. So, well, but that's that. And so, what else we got to talk about? Well, I guess if you've been paying attention to my Facebook account at all, and I'm sure some of the 7 of you who watch this program are kind of curious about, and you will notice that I have changed my relationship status to married. Well, to make a long story even longer, I got to go back to I did a little background research yesterday just to make sure, because I had no idea how long it's been. But in about June of 2013, a young lady from Brazil, about an hour away from St. Paul, Brazil, Sao Paulo, they call it, but I don't speak Portuguese very good, so I didn't want to. I may have mispronounced it. Anyhow, she's from St. Paul, Brazil, which is nowhere near Minneapolis, Brazil, as it turns out. But this young lady friended me, and then she started a discussion with me about marriage and procuring a visa. And of course, I have a visa. I have a regular visa and a platinum visa. So it turns out that that's not the kind of visa she wants. And so I have to do something at the consulate, and I'm not sure where the consulate is and what I have to do when I get there. But we got married Facebook officially, not actually. I'm not sure how legal and binding it is, but Facebook officially, we got married last Monday. So this has been the 8th day, which it's pretty much a record for me. It's a personal best. I don't know that I've ever been married longer than a week, but that's the way it is there. So, what do we got? So anyhow, she's one, and I resisted as long as I possible could, because I do like my carefree bachelorhood. I like having ice cream for breakfast in the summertime and all that jazz. And I like being, as they say, footloose and fancy free, or even plain free, depending on your point of view. And so, then again, I'm buying Peter Pan peanut butter here, so I'm not exactly pleading poverty. So, and so it's true. With all the money I'm making at my 2 jobs, I'm making more money than I can spend, and having a wife will correct that, I'm sure. And so we'll see. I've noticed it hasn't stopped there. I've got a couple little personal PM messages on the Facebook from my new wife, Yossi, or Josi. I'm not sure how you pronounce that in the Brazilian, but it's it basically, in English it's Joanne, or Josephine, I think. Hosianne. It's either Josephine or Joanna. I don't know. I probably should have learned this before I got married, but well, we're all entitled to 7 times 70 mistakes, I guess. So this is anyhow. So that's the way it looks there. Anyhow, she wants me to learn Portuguese. That ain't gonna happen. Um, and she wants to have a church wedding, and that's going to be an interesting little plot point. Going to be a little fly in the oatmeal, as the Kingfish used to say, because I am a Methodist and she is an evangelical, and I'm not sure how that's going to play. Well, see, I was baptized Methodist, and before the 19, I was baptized in 1967. I was confirmed United Methodist after the merger. You see, the Methodist Church and the United Evangelical Brethren merged in 1968 when I was just a little fella, and so I'm not exactly sure. Well, this is way too complicated, but I don't know. We'll simplify it somehow. It usually all comes out in the wash, and so we'll see how that goes. It's been an interesting experience. So many people. I know so many people who are living together without being married. I am married and living and not living together with someone. So that's actually real nice. It'll be it's when she actually moves in. That's when the trouble's going to start. I have a feeling. It's, but you never know. Things might take. She is a little concerned that because she is 21 years old, that she will disappoint me because she's so young. And well, I don't know about that. We'll see who gets disappointed first. My dad always told me never to date the young ladies because you don't want to embarrass yourself or disappoint her. But disappointment is part of the female experience, and so I am all too happy to help her along in that particular regard. So that's what that's all about. And I understand little side information. Just found out this morning at the donut shop, the Daylight Donuts in beautiful downtown Mitchell. Read in the paper that Google is changing its name to Alphabet. Oh boy, this kind of reminds me of a story Lee Iacocca told in one of his autobiographies. I think it was Talking Straight, where he talks about how Univac had changed its name to Unisys, and there were American Telephone and Telegraph changed its name to AT&T. It's during the 80s, and all the corporations were changing their name to symbolize something. U.S. Steel became USX, and different. He gave a lot of examples, but those were just some of them. So the Chrysler board suggested that they change their name because everybody else is doing it, peer pressure and all. And so they wanted to change the name of Chrysler to Chrysco. And he asked these board members why they wanted to do that. And he said, well, because the name Chrysler is identified with cars. And he said, well, that's the business we're in, is cars. He said, well, no, actually, we are quite diversified. We have, we have government contracts for we build airplanes, and we have auto parts you manufacture auto parts, and so we're not just cars. He says, well, if we change our name to Chrysco, he says, people will think that we are selling vegetable shortening. Notice how hard it is for me to keep a straight face telling that story, because I was LOLing the first time I read that in Talking Straight. And then he further suggested that they changed the name to Christ's Sakes. Okay. And there goes the old straight face. So anyhow, so I guess, well, I've changed my corporation name quite a few times, so I can't really judge. But right now it's Universal Broadcasting Service. Well, it used to be back when I was, from Prairie Deacon Media for a while, and different things. But now we're back. I found a really nice looking, almost borderline satanic logo that if I ever figure out how to impose that on a corporate level, a friend of mine says that UBS stands for Ugly Boy Swag. And well, that's kind of appropriate. I'm not supposed to say that I'm ugly, though. I've got a good friend of mine which shall remain nameless, who I'm not married to, who tells me that I'm not ugly. And well, you got to, when someone else says you're not ugly, you pretty much have to believe them, unless you take a poll, I guess. Anyhow. What else is there to talk about? Let's see, we could talk about immigration reform. We need it if beautiful young ladies are asking me to be married and keeping at it for 2 years, like my current bride did. But anyhow, I guess that'll be all for this week. I'm going to try to I'm going to try to get this done more regularly. And until next time, this is Mind of the World with your host, Jerry Hinkle from the Ashley Kringen Studios. God be with you, and do the best you can.